in our data set, okay, these REITs are located or headquartered in 34 unique MSAs. And if you look at New York, there's 11 REITs headquartered in New York. And as you might suspect, there's sort of a little bit disproportionate ownership or headquarters in LA. Lake County is outside of Chicago. San Francisco, I guess there's 8 REITs headquartered there. So you do see, a little bit of bias toward being located in the major U.S. MSAs, but there's quite a distribution here of headquarters. We don't think our results are driven by any particular sector, any particular region, or any particular MSA. We do test to check on that. So we do have this sort of nice distribution of headquarters. And then what we see here is that, I'll give you LA for example. In LA, there's 7 REITs that are headquartered in LA. Okay, those REITs that are headquartered in LA, on average, have 66% of their portfolio in LA. The little orange line next to it over here, okay, is the percent of the portfolio of non-LA REITs, right? So REITs not headquartered in LA held on average across our sample about 2% of their portfolio in LA, right? So this is a picture, I think, of home bias, right? This says that LA REITs located in LA, are disproportionately allocated to LA, right? And then, you see it to some extent in other markets. But so again, the blue is the percent that they have allocated to their home market, and the orangish is the percent that other REITs have allocated to that market. So this is a picture of home bias. That's the story I'm trying to tell. All right, so the first thing we've done is that we sort of document that there is home bias, and the second thing is, does it matter? These are just percentages on average across our sample, okay, of the extent to which REIT portfolios are allocated to their home markets. So something like 18 to 24%. Right? So on average, REITs hold about 20% of their portfolios in their home market, which is actually, if you think about it, quite a lot. But there's a ton of variation, right? There's REITs that at times hold no properties in their home market, and there are REITs that at times have 100% of their portfolio allocated to their home market, right? So we've got significant home bias. We've got a lot of variation in it. And this is, as an academic, that's what you want. So what we find is that this is the monthly return on REITs that have a low concentration, 0.9% per month, or about 11% per year. This is on average the monthly return that's earned by REITs that have a high home concentration. That's about 16% per year. And then we just take the difference, about 43 basis points monthly, which is about over 5% annually, right? So this is statistically significant. I would argue that 5% annually is economically significant, right? In other words, REITs with a larger concentration in their home market produce annualized returns that are 5 percentage points higher than those that have lower concentrations or low concentrations, right? So that's sort of the first horse race. And then another thing that we do is, again, I'm pounding on this concentration risk, right? What if what's going on here is that these REITs, as I said earlier, are producing higher returns because they're riskier, right? Well, what about a REIT that has a high concentration, maybe not in its home market, but in any market, right? So what we do is we redo the analysis by redefining a concentrated portfolio. So just as an example, in the second row, single market concentration non-home. So every year for each REIT, we calculate their allocation, okay, to a single market that's not their home market. Right? And so the idea would be that if it's really a concentrated risk story, if investors that have concentrated portfolios have to generate higher returns in equilibrium to reward investors for taking on that risk, right? You would think that second row, right, we'd also see higher returns for concentrated risk, but we actually don't, right? I mean, firms that have a high concentration in any market actually produce lower returns than firms that have low concentrations in any market.